There are a lot of questions surrounding Lost Ark, so here is a video answering some of the most common questions. If you have a specific question, use the timestamps in the description below to skip to that specific question. Is there a DPS meter? Currently, no, there is no DPS meter. However, there is a training area where you can customize abilities, and in that area you are given a DPS timer. What is the tier list? No. If anything, put supports on top. Honestly, there's a few things that make this difficult. One, we can compare to what other regions are doing, but we won't have the same tier set stats or gems as they will. So we have to remove all of that to get an accurate picture, and that just breaks apart some classes. Two, the other option is to make a tier list for the future based off how things are now, and there are likely to be several balance changes by the time we get there. Three, due to tier 3 requiring such a high investment in character, some balance changes are not immediately represented in other regions. So going off of pure popularity isn't a good metric. So no, I don't feel comfortable giving people information that has such a high degree of being wrong, even if it is a video people want. Well, how do I know who is good? Same way you actually tell if people are good in other MMOs. You have an idea of what their role is supposed to do. Do they do it? Are you making DPS checks? Are they getting unnecessarily hit? Review VODs with the people you play with often. Wait, you're telling me people just looked at a number to tell if people were good? What is the standard party composition? 1 support for 3 DPS. What is the raid size? Typically 4 or 8. What is account-wide or server-wide? Collectibles, cards, skill points, some currencies, not all though, such as enhancement material currencies are not account-wide, but things like silver, gold, crystals, pirate coins, report currencies are. How many alts do you need? At tier 3, a decent benchmark is around 3 alts for 1 character. Go up or down a little based on how much time you have or how much you want to play. There was a change on Korea recently that capped gold generation from raids at 7 characters. We are still waiting to see how that plays out. I've seen people talk about ultrawide monitors. Do I need one? It mostly gives an advantage in PvP. However, there is a forced ultrawide mode that helps equalize this. In PvP, there may be fringe cases where using forced ultrawide would be useful, but by and large, it's not a requirement at all. For PvP, of course, you definitely want it. What are tiers? To oversimplify, think of them like expansions. So we are starting at tier 1, so base game, then tier 2, which will add new zones and bosses as well as a reset of gear, and then tier 3, which is where the game currently is and has been for a decent amount of time now. What are raid buffs? This is a topic that could be an entire video on its own, but I have a link to a document below, although it does not cover which classes are good at impairment or destruction, which certain bosses have destruction or impairment checks. Is the game paid to win? Why do I suddenly feel like I'm in a minefield? Look, instead of arguing definitions, since there is such a wide chasm of definitions, and this could be an entire video on its own, but to simplify, you can turn money into in-game currency and then buy materials to make your character stronger from other players on the auction house. Having a higher item level unlocks new content and bosses. It feels very similar to the World of Warcraft token and the problems it has for the highest end. PvP has no pay-to-win elements because it's all equalized. What PvE content do I have to do for PvP? You just have to unlock it, then have the minimum amount of silver to buy Chaos Stones. PvP is equalized and by and large does not have any homework to do in order to be competitive. What are the cheapest classes? Supports, Demonic, Scouter. Supports because of less engravings and gear to be effective or get in groups. Demonic and Scouter because they only need a couple of gems, which is a system in tier 2 and onwards, to be effective on their transformation builds. How important are life skills? It's free money. Likely life skills will be more important for gold generation early on, with later tiers allowing for more gold generation from other things such as raids will allow for more players to appear that just straight buy consumables, which will make it less important as you could just buy consumables. Can you play with a controller? Yes, although I would still recommend using a keyboard and mouse for things like inventory management. What are the best resources for learning? Overall, the Lost Ark Discord, as it will point you to a handful of other resources. What Founders Pack should I buy? Assuming you have spare money, a lot of the stuff in the Founders Pack is fluff or cosmetics. But to quickly go through it, if you really care about cosmetics, you'll likely want the $100 version. Otherwise, the main benefit to the Founders Pack is the HP potions that are given, the crystals, and the crystalline aura. HP potions is similar to be given gold as they are end-game consumables. Crystalline aura will likely be the biggest bang for your buck based on the bonuses, and the crystals themselves can be turned into gold, character slots, card storage, or cosmetics. So other than the $100 one for cosmetics, the $50 one is also pretty good. Will we catch up to the Korean version? They are planning to speedrun us to Tier 3 content on NA release, so I don't know if they will ever do a simultaneous release, but I can expect to get to a situation in which we are a couple months behind on releases. If you have any questions, ask below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Otherwise, click these links.